Assalamualaikum to Sir Yusrol and my dear friends. My name is Muhammad ADHAM MUSTAQIM bin Azman, and my partners are Irfan aqil bin azmam and Ahmad Faidhi bin Othman. For this presentation, our group will present chapter 4 of Islamic finance subject with the topic of Islamic banking operation and instrument. Next. Islamic finance refers to how businesses and individuals raise capital in accordance with Sharia or Islamic law. Islamic finance was begun in the 7th century. Islamic law views lending with interest payments, and basically Islamic finance is all about Sharia compliance finance. Next. So for the conceptual balance sheet of an Islamic finance institute, so for Islamic banking operation, they have three base product. The first one is profit loss sharing financing products. The second one is non-profit loss and sharing profit and loss sharing financing products, and the third one is fee-based product. So for the first one, profit loss sharing financing product, they have two. The first one is musyarakah. Musyarakah is a profit and loss sharing partnership and the most authentic form of Islamic financing. It is a contract of joint partnership where two or more partners provide capital to finance a project or own real estate or movable assets, either on a permanent or diminishing basis. Partners in musyarakah have a right to take part in management. They seem to bear the greatest risk among all Islamic financing modes, with the potential for earning the highest reward. However, whereas profits are distributed according to pre-agreed ratios, losses are shared in proportion to capital contribution. The second one is mudarabah. Mudarabah is a profit sharing and loss bearing contract where one party supplies funding and the other provides effort and management expertise with a view to generating a profit. The share in profits is determined by mutual agreement, but losses, if any, are borne entirely by the financier unless they result from the mudarib's negligence, misconduct, or breach of contract terms. Mudarabah is sometimes referred to as a sleeping partnership because the mudarib runs the business and the financier cannot interfere in management, though conditions may be specified to ensure better management of capital. Islamic banks mainly make use of mudarabah financing to raise funds. Mudarabah contracts are also used for the management of mutual fund. For the second product is non-profit and loss sharing financing products. They have 4 products under the non-PLS financing products. The first one is murabaha. Murabaha is a popular Sharia compliant sale transaction mostly used in trade and asset financing. The bank purchases the goods and delivers them to the customer, deferring payment to a date agreed by the two parties. The expected return on murabaha is usually aligned with interest payments on conventional loans, creating a similarity between murabaha sales and asset-backed loans. However, murabaha is a deferred payment sale transaction where the intention is to facilitate the acquisition of goods and not to exchange money for more money over a period of time. Unlike conventional loans, after the murabaha contract is signed, the amount being financed cannot be increased in case of late payment or default, nor can a penalty be imposed unless the buyer has deliberately refused to make a payment. Also, the seller has to assume any liability from delivering defective goods. Murabaha transactions are widely used to finance international trades as well as for interbank financing and liquidity management through a multi-step transaction known as tawarruk, often using commodities trade on the London Metal Exchange (LME). However, in some jurisdictions, tawarruk transactions are not considered compliant with Sharia principles. The second product is ijarah. Ijarah is a contract of sale of the right to use an asset for a period of time. It is essentially a lease contract whereby the leaser must own the leased asset for the entire lease period. Since ownership remains with the leaser, the asset can be repossessed in case of non-payment by the lessee. However, the leaser is also responsible for asset maintenance unless damage to the lease asset results from lessee negligence. The third one is salam. Salam is a form of forward agreement where delivery occurs at a future date in exchange for spot payment. Such transactions were originally allowed to meet the financing needs of small farmers as they were unable to yield adequate returns until several periods after the initial investment. A vital condition for the validity of a salam is payment of the price in full at the time of initiating the contract, or else the outcome is a debt against debt sale, which is strictly prohibited under Sharia. The fourth product, which is the last one, is istina. Istina is a contract with which a commodity can be transacted before it comes into existence. The unique feature of istina or manufacturing is that nothing is exchanged on the spot or at the time of contracting. It is perhaps the only forward contract where the obligations of both parties are in the future. For the last product in Islamic finance is a fee-based product. Fee-based product is in the fee-based product, Islamic banks offer a wide spectrum of fee-based services using three types of contract: wakalah, kafalah, and ju'alah. They are usually auxiliary to the main murabahah and mudarabah transactions, though they generate various types of fees and commissions. The fee-based services provided by Islamic banks include the bank transfer, issuing letters of credit and guarantees, credit cards, and offering collections and safe custody services, mostly used in trade financing. Next. So for the sources of funds in Islamic finance, there are three sources of funds in Islamic finance. The first one is capital and equity. The second one is transaction deposits, and the third one is investment deposits. For the first, next, next day. For the first one is capital and equity. Capital is the sum injected into the Islamic bank during the establishments. As example, the Islamic banks paid up capital. In general, equity is the Muslim bank's retained earning occurring over its period of operations. Next. For the second sources of funds is transaction deposit. Under transaction deposit, we have two accounts. The first one is current account and the second one is saving account. For the current accounts are based on the wadiah concept, which promises return of their funds to the depositors. At the same time, the depositor is not reimbursed for depositing money into a current account, as secured funds are not used for profit and loss sharing activities. The funds collected in these accounts can be used instead only to meet the bank's liquidity needs and short-term bank transactions. Deposits may be withdrawn during banking hours by conducting checks, electronic machines, or via the counter. Because the deposit is put under trust, Islamic banks do not usually return any deposits of this nature. For the second one is saving account. For the saving account, the wadiah theory also protects saving accounts. Saving accounts vary in terms of interest received by depositors based on their annual performance from new deposits. This is similar to the existing account, except that it has no facilities for checks. The bank should not give any return under the strict principle of al-wadiah. However, it's offered as a hibah or a donation if the bank makes those returns. Regional Islamic banks give maslahah, which is the means of public interest, arguments for competing with other conventional banks. For the third source of fund in Islamic finance, investment deposit, I will hand over to my partner, Irfan Akil.
Thanks for ADHAM MUSTAQIM. First of all, my name is Irfan AZMAN. There are three types of investment deposit. First, general investment account. It has a set income sharing distribution with predetermined ratio and maturity period of the investment account. The mudarabah concept contract for general investment deposit, where depositors and the Islamic bank agree to the profit sharing and duration of the placement when the investment is placed. The mudarabah al-mutlaqah concept refer to an investment account under which mudarib, the participating partner, has full independence under handling the subscribed capital expenditure. This account condition are distinct from that of the saving account because of a highest guaranteed total balance and a longer duration of saving. And most significantly, in the case that the bank experience default, the depositor may lose any of more of its fund. Second type of investment deposit is specific investment account. This is a special investment tools that tell depositor of the location of asset, the total sum they can spend, the expected gains, and the commitment risk involved. The mudarabah theory often extend to specific investment account and it's generally target at broader investor and organization. This distinction in such fund and the investment plan is that the specific investment plan is connected to a single project and that the borrower has the option of specifically participating in the bank chosen project. Generally, yield of specific investment account are slightly greater, but the depositor remain eager to commit in certain form of deposit. The depositor shall incur any damage arising out of the scheme. Depositor are usually invite the deposit. This form only a specific strategies that the bank use for this fund are immobilis. That type of investment deposit is commodity murabahah. This is another way of unique contracts of deposit. In this deal, the customer must purchase goods, normally crude palm oil and or metal, from a dealer, claim dealer A, and offer them to the bank on deferred payment, including the benefit margin for the buyer. Once the property is transferred to the bank will sell the commodity to another broker at a cash discount. For example, broker B. The purchasing and selling of the item shall be considered through move. Some slip up on the deal might end up owning the asset by one side. The bank must compensate the customer at the negotiate selling price after expiration of the deferred payment period. Technically, this product is a deposit account with a set rate of profit. Broker provide the depositor with the commodity, and there is a spot money transaction from the depositor to broker A. The depositor, the depositor then give the commodity to Islamic finance institution and differently give murabahah in exchange for the Islamic finance institution. The Islamic finance institution then offer spot transaction to broker B and broker B with the product. Next. Use of fund. Process of investment of the resource of the Islamic bank based on the principle of prohibiting the usurious interest. Therefore, they practice their investing activities of the resources away from the base on which the activity of giving loan and credit depend in the non-Islamic bank. What in investing the resources of Islamic banks start on the base that making profit is not the sole aim way, well, it is one of the basic aims because it is an important component that enable the bank to continue and attract new resources, especially the deposit of those who deal with the bank. Next. Establish direct project. The bank with its special system invests the fund in some projects administrated by a special system in them that study this project and make sure of their reliability and effectiveness, carry out, administer and follow up them. This project will remain under the complete ownership and authorities of the bank as long as it keep the capital. Next, establishing project in conjunction with others. The bank will, in conjunction with others, whether they are organization or individual, establish a new project or buying a ready one that has an independent legal entity away from the entity of the bank. It often takes the form of the capital company. The role of the bank is defined in this project according to the value of its contribution, either by quota or shares, and the extent of the bank participation in the actual administration of the company. This is one of the most common forms in many of the current Islamic banks. That is because it enjoys a complete legal protection for the fund of the Islamic banks. Next, financing through partnership. It is when the bank has a share in the capital of the project. This will result in making the bank a partner in the ownership of this project as well as administrating and supervising it, and also a partner in a result of profit and loss according to the agreed ratio. That is because the Islamic bank depend on the Islamic special perspective and teachings concerning transaction, and thus its direct investment or partnership are subjected to the criteria of allowed and prohibited methods that Islam outlines. Next, financing through murabahah. This is of the means of financing depends on the basis that it is one of the allowed form of transaction in the religion of Islam. It means that the bank sells what it bought previous in the original price along with an excess of profit on it. This fund is applied to the local and foreign trade. That's all for me. I will pass for next presenter.
Hello, my name is Ahmad Faidhi. I'll be continuing where Irfan left. Next is direct trading. This way is like the direct investment that is free from all religious prohibition. Accordingly, banks represent India expert who are supposed to have complete knowledge of the condition of the market and it needs buy the commodities that the market needs and resell it in suitable prices, providing keeping away from exploitation and monopoly. Next is sale of salam. It is one of the way of Islamic trade transaction. Its main idea bases on the fact that of an individual has the required money as the price of commodity. Whoever the seller does not have the required commodity. Accordingly, the buyer will pay the price in advance all at once or in different times to the seller who should deliver him the required commodity in the agreed specification and in the time and place defined by the contract. Next is Mudarabah. It is financing form combines both selling and hiring. This form is used in the capital equipment and housing units. According to this form, the bank will buy equipment and build housing building and sell it in a specific value and make agreement with the customer not to transfer the ownership to the buyer in the return of exempting the buyer from paying the whole price all at once. And when installments are paid, then the ownership will be transferred to the buyer. Next is Islamic trade finance and instrument. We have two forms of Islamic trades financing and instrument. The first one is Islamic letter of credit, and the second one is Islamic accepted bill or IAB. Under Islamic letter of credit, Islamic Murabbahah Islamic letter of credit is a document of trust signed by the computer, the strength on which the bank allow the importer to obtain release of the merchandise but making lump sum payment at a later date. Next is Wakalah. Wakalah is Islamic letter of credit that the customer must pay in advance to the full pay value to the item in question prior to the issuance of ILC. Next is Islamic trust receipt. A financing facility that's a financing facility that finance domestic or international trade document drawn against ILC or Wakalah inward bills for collection. Next is Islamic accepted bill or IAB. Islamic accepted bill, also known as interest-free accepted bills, was introduced in 1991. The objective of introducing IAB is to encourage and promote both domestic and foreign trade by providing Malaysia trader with attractive Islamic financing product. Next is importing on local purchases. The financing will be financed under Al-Murabbahah, working capital financing mechanism. If the bank decides to sell the IAB to the third party, then the concept of buy al dain will apply, whereby the bank will sell IAB at the agreed price. Next is Islamic bank guarantee, and IBG is indemnity letter in which Islamic bank commits itself to pay a certain sum if a third party fails to perform or in other form default occur. The next is Islamic shipping guarantee, a letter of performance and indemnity issued by the Islamic bank on behalf of the buyer and or importer is a contract where the Islamic bank agrees to discharge the liability of the third party in case of default by the third party. That's all. Thank you.